Welcome back to Mommy Inspiration, and today's video I want to show you guys my buttermilk biscuit recipe. And I get it from this recipe book that we got from, I think we got it from Williamsburg, Virginia when we went on vacation. And it has old-timey recipes. And I'm going to give you guys the buttermilk biscuit recipe, and I will give you guys the screenshot of that at the end of the video. But I do a little changing. It says cups of flour, but I'm going to tell you what kind of flour and all that stuff. So I'll let you guys know the details throughout the video. I also want to show you guys how I freeze the biscuit dough so it's ready to pop in the oven first thing in the morning, so you don't have to make anything, so it's just an easy breakfast. So let's get started. First, it says 2 cups of flour, but this is the flour that I use. It's White Lily. Make sure you get White Lily, self-rising, and make sure it says pre-sifted, because that's what makes it nice and fluffy biscuits. So we're going to get 2 cups of that. So you put all your dry ingredients in first. Now skim the top, and that's 1 cup. Level it off, and that's 2 cups. And that's all you need for now for the flour. Save the flour to the side for later. And then it says 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and just throw that in there. And 2 teaspoons of this baking powder. I make sure I get the non-GMO, so you get 2 of those. Make sure you level it off. And 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. It just says soda, but it means baking soda in the screenshot. So we got all our dry ingredients, so now we're going to put it underneath the mixer. I use my KitchenAid mixer. I've had this for a couple years now, and I use I think this is the bread mixer attachment. I use that for my biscuits. Some people use the other one that's in like a diamond shape, but I use this one for my biscuits. And so you got all your dry ingredients in here. So the next ingredients are your 2 wet ingredients. And it's going to be your vegetable shortening and your buttermilk. I use the all-purpose shortening here. Some people say you can use palm oil, you can use sunflower seed oil, but that's really up to you. I use the vegetable oil, and I melt it in the microwave so it bonds to all the flour better. I feel like it bonds better, and you get fluffier biscuits that way. So I melt mine down to 1/4 of a cup. The recipe says 5 tablespoons, which is pretty close to the same thing. And then you need 1 cup of buttermilk. So I have my wet ingredients ready. I come over here and I lock it, and I put it on 1. And my oven's ready. And I do the oil first. I go all the way around. Like that. And then I do the buttermilk. And I go to this side. And then you let the mixer do its work. Sometimes I have to scrape the extra flour on the side, but other than that, the mixer does the rest. And I do it until it's all mixed up. I don't let it go crazy. I don't leave it there for a long time. I just let it get all mixed up until all the flour is mixed up, until there's no dry flour. Sometimes you have to scrape it and make sure it's all mixed up, because sometimes you get dry flour stuck at the very bottom where it dips into like this little hole in the bowl. So, but as long as you do that, you're good. Okay, you see how it's all together now and how it's all sticky? See how it's sticking to my spatula here? That tells me it's all mixed up and it's good to go. When it gets all sticky, that tells me it's all mixed in really good. And it's going to be sticky. I get all of it scraped off here because I don't want to leave anything behind. Alright, and you come over here to your counter. I use this baking sheet. Make sure it's a dark colored baking sheet. I find out this works the best for my biscuits. But you might just have to do trial and error. Some people's ovens are different, so what works best for me is the dark colored baking sheet. Now you got your sticky biscuit batter. I try and scrape it off the edge into a big pile here in the middle. And now you got to get your hands dirty. So get a little bit of flour on your hands. Go like this until your hands are covered. You'll have to do this a lot. Every time you do a biscuit, you have to put fresh flour on your hands. And you get your spatula, get a little bit like that. Put it on there. Try and drop it the best you can. Roll it into a nice ball. You might need to get a little bit of extra flour, like I just did, because it's really sticky. And just roll it really good. And then put it on your finger and squish it like that. And then squish the other side. And when you see your fingerprints like that, that's what you want, because you don't want it to rise into like a little mountain. And then gently put it on your baking sheet. It's really fragile and they might fall apart, but as long as you use gentle hands, it should be okay. So I'm going to get some more flour. Every time you make a new biscuit, you have to get new flour. Get the edge of your spatula, cut some off, lay it on your hands, kind of roll it, get it nice and floured where it's not sticky. Put it on your fingers and press, just like that. See, and you got your fingerprints. Put it right there. And that's how I make my biscuits. Now we're going to cook these biscuits. Now I want to show you how I freeze biscuits before we cook these. While you're making your biscuits and you want to freeze them, you get another sheet, a pan sheet. It doesn't matter what color, because as long as it's a pan sheet, you know, this is just an extra one I had. Get a wax paper baking sheet so it doesn't stick in case in the freezer it doesn't stick. And then just do the same thing. Make sure you get some flour. I almost forgot. Get some flour. Do the same thing you did for your, if you're going to cook them fresh, like that. And then put them on the wax baking sheet, just like that. And make as many as you want to freeze. Roll them up, fingerprints. Alright, so these are ready to go freeze. And I leave these in the freezer overnight. And these are ready to bake. So let's put these in the oven. So it's at 450. So make sure you put it on one of the top racks. I like the second to the top, right up there. That way, when you close the door, you can still see the biscuits inside. But whichever shelf works for you in your oven, you'll just have to trial and error and see which one works best. So, and once you put them in the oven, you turn the timer on for 12 minutes. Okay, while those are baking, I'm going to put these in the freezer. So I just put the biscuits in the freezer to freeze overnight, and in the morning, when they're frozen solid, you can get them out. Make sure you put them in a freezer bag. I use the quart bag, but you can use whatever size that you like. And I put them in the bag, and I label it buttermilk biscuits when I made them, and just some little instructions in case, you know, the husband wants to make biscuits by himself in the morning. So, and what you do, you turn the oven on just like you do when you bake fresh biscuits, and it's the same time just like when you bake the fresh biscuits. You put them in the oven at 450 on the top rack or close to the top rack, and cook them for 12 minutes just like you do the fresh ones. You don't have to make the dough in the morning. It's just really easy just getting them out of the freezer. It's just like buying frozen biscuits at the store. And they're done. You have to keep an eye on them. Perfect. Sometimes it's at 12 minutes, sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter. You just got to keep an eye on them. And now they're ready for snack time for the girls. And now we're going to have the kids' taste test and see if they like the biscuits. Take a bite. Is it good? 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 Is it good?
Yum.
Good, I'm glad. Like I said, here's the screenshot of the recipe on page 31. Here's the screenshot. And so that's how we make our biscuits, and I hope this video helps you guys out with making the biscuits fresh or freezing them so you can make them whenever you need to in the mornings. It makes it super easy for you guys. I hope you guys like this video. Give me any recipes for y'all's biscuits down below in the comments, or any comments or questions, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. This video we're going to talk about how to keep your child in bed. You can also call this bedtime training. It's basically just